Alright, what is going on YouTube? Adonis coming back at you with a brand new video. Before we get into this, I do want to apologize for the little hiatus that I took. I actually was moving over to a new apartment, as you guys can tell by the background. Still kind of in the middle of moving. It's taken a lot longer than I thought it would, but decided I was like, all right, we got to crank this out. So today we are going to be doing a realistic rebuild of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, coming into the team itself, it's honestly like a pretty decent looking squad, right? We've got like Kyle Pitts, we've got Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Rondale Moore, Bijan Robinson is obviously here, Tyler Algier. Just signed Kirk Cousins on a little bit of an overpay in my opinion, but a good quarterback to have, and then drafted Michael Penix Jr. in the first round of the NFL draft. That shocked pretty much everybody. And so I think realistically, like, I'm going to start Penix off rip. I did give him star dev. They had him at normal dev. I feel like he's a little bit more like leans toward a star dev player. I think he's going to be solid. And so we do want to start him and see, you know, like, is he going to be decent? And then if he is bad, obviously we've got Kirk Cousins that we have for like 2 seasons, I think, that we can go ahead and plug in. So offensively, we look pretty decent. Defensively, it's an interesting story, right? We've got Jesse Bates. We've got Richie Grant at our safety spots. We've also, of course, got AJ Terrell. Phenomenal cornerback in the NFL. The rest of the team, though, leaves a little bit to be desired. I mean, Grady Jarrett's decent. He's getting up there, right? Onyemata's decent. We got Arororo, who I believe is a rookie out of Clemson. I think he's probably going to be pretty decent. I saw that a lot of people really like that kid. So, you know, obviously all those guys going to get touches. We've got Braylon Trice as well out of UW. I'm not sure how he's going to do. I think our middle linebackers are decent. Love, Nate Landman. I think he's awesome. Obviously, University of Colorado kid, where I went to school as well. So, want him to do well on this team. We've also got Caden Ellis, Arnold Ebiketie. Like, we've got some dudes, but we definitely could use a little bit of work, a little bit of a makeover, likely after this first season. But we're not going to change too much before we do go ahead and jump into it. So that's kind of the overview of the squad. Without further ado, let's go ahead. We'll sim to the mid-season mark, and I will see you guys there. Actually, before we go ahead and sim to the mid-season mark, we are, of course, going to set a season goal. I think the Falcons should likely win 6 or 7 games this season, and it's a pretty realistic goal. Obviously with starting Penix, it kind of can depend a bit just how he develops, right? How he does overall, but should be at least a decent enough team. So shooting for 7 wins on the season. I will see you guys at the mid-season mark. All right, so at the mid-season mark, the Atlanta Falcons are sitting at 3-4, which is pretty decent, I would argue. So statistically speaking, Michael Penix is having a decent year, right? 1,200 yards, 7 TDs, 2 picks. Keep in mind, we do currently still have the Arthur Smith playbook and scheme, right? So offensively, not really going to be built around throwing the ball a ton. And I think especially for Penix, as a rookie, having that scheme is nice in game. Obviously with their new head coach that came in, it's going to be a bit different. Rushing wise, yeah, Bijan Robinson, 548 yards, 2 TDs on the season. Algier with only 127 yards, but 4 TDs, which is awesome. Bijan has fumbled twice, which is a little bit disappointing, and Algier also has a much longer longest run. Again, very bizarre. I don't understand why Algier in Madden is better than Bijan. It doesn't make sense to me, at least in Sim, but hey, here we are. Receiving wise, obviously, wouldn't expect to see huge numbers here. Drake London with about 400 is decent, and then Kyle Pitts with 4 TDs. So finally getting him a little bit more involved, which is awesome. Mooney kind of underwhelming at this point, and Rondale Moore behind him also. Neither of these guys are really doing a whole lot, to be quite honest. But I mean, we're a run first team, right? If we look at rushing yards, pretty much everyone is getting over 100 rush yards per game, which is pretty decent. Defensively, Grady Jarrett is obviously our main sack producer at this point. I think he's probably a pretty decent rush defensive tackle. We do have some guys down the board that have sacks, so it's not all with Grady Jarrett. Obviously, Onyemata being the second with only 2 is not ideal, but you can't win them all. Interceptions wise, only 4 total takeaways on the season. Jesse Bates with 2, AJ Terrell with 1, D. Alford with 1. So, I mean, interested to see how we finish the year. We could totally squeak into the playoffs, kind of depending on how the NFC South picture, shapes up. Like, as of right now, the Panthers are 4-2, Saints are 4-3, Falcons are 3-4, right? Bucs are 2-4. So, like, there's certainly, like, there is a race, absolutely. And we do have a breakout linebacker. Is it going to be, it's Braylon Trice. All right, we'll see, man. We will see. I don't think he'll probably get it, but I mean, hey, you never know. Titans, not that great in sim, from my experience with them in the last video that I did. I do want to take a look at the players that we want to bring back, right? Like Nate Landman, super young, could get him for very cheap. JD Bertrand, maybe bring back. I mean, these are like some like depth pieces. No one really big. Obviously going to take Kyle Pitts' 5th year. Like that's a no-brainer. We will bring back Nate Landman. We'll give him a relatively, okay, well, maybe we won't be bringing back Nate Landman. JD Bertrand, will offer him a neutral contract. Okay, whatever, dude. I'll let you walk. That's fine. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead. Let's simulate to the end of the season and see how the Falcons can finish out the year. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Falcons squeak into the playoffs at 9-8. I told you guys, this NFC South is like a very weak division, and I could totally see this happening in real life in terms of like the Falcons, right? Let's take a look at the stats. Let's see how we finish out the year. Penix, I mean, 3,400 yards again in Arthur Smith offense, not bad. 21 TDs, 13 picks is a bit high for my taste, but again, it is his rookie year. 60% completion percentage, I would have liked a little bit better. Rushing wise, yeah, Bijan, dude. I mean, 1,400 yards, 8 TDs, 86.5 yards per game is awesome. 4 fumbles is like a little bit concerning. Algier with 11 TDs, so really punching it in on the ground. And then Michael Penix also taking off every once in a while, scoring 4 TDs. And Tucker Fisk, the fullback, scored a touchdown, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting a little crazy. In the first year of this rebuild, Drake London finishes with 1,000 yards and 5 TDs. Awesome. Love to see it. Kyle Pitts comes in right behind him with 903 yards, 7 TDs. Again, really, really good. Love to see it. Our longest reception of the year was 27 yards, so really not pushing the ball down the field a whole lot, which I mean, that's completely fine. I'm not like torn up about that. Rondale and Darnell also being like good receiving options, and then Bijan also catching some TDs out of the backfield. I think we kind of did everything we wanted to do from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, how did we finish the year? Grady Jarrett with 8, Onyemata with 7, Rook Ororo. I really hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. It's like Ororo. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But 3.5 sacks. Eben Katie with 2. Caden Ellis with 1.5. And then like a decent amount of production down the board is not bad at all. We'll definitely take it. Interceptions wise, AJ Terrell with 3, Caden Ellis with 3, Jesse Bates with 3, 1 for Landman, 1 for Richie Grant, and 1 for D. Alford. So pretty solid. Offensive line wise, this is always something I like to take a look at. Jake Matthews, 13 sacks is very like uncharacteristic for him, I would say. He's a very solid left tackle in the NFL, has been for a long time. So that's kind of, I mean, that's interesting. He is getting up there in age, obviously, but yeah, that's kind of, that's curious for sure. And then taking a look at the lineup as we head into this game, Bijan's got superstar dev, definitely going to be up to superstar X Factor before long. And then Kyle Pitts has superstar X Factor. No one else on the offensive side of the ball looks like got much rocking and rolling. Yeah, everyone's pretty much the same from a development trait standpoint. Braylon Trice looks like really did not do anything this season. But I mean, a solid group all around. And like, I think our offense, like at least functioned well enough. It's probably going to be about like getting a cornerback too, because like D. Alford, and then is this Alex Hamilton? Antonio Hamilton, not Alexander Hamilton. Antonio Hamilton, we need a cornerback too, big time. We need a linebacker number 2, big time, as Caden Ellis is injured. Like we could definitely use another outside linebacker to rush the passer. Like we've got spots to improve, but a very good first season overall. Let's go ahead. Let's advance week. See if we can't beat the Packers. They are a simulation like animal. Really hard to beat, but we'll see. And unfortunately, we do lose 24-17. Hate to see it. Fake Arthur Smith obviously gets extended. Let's go ahead, advance week. We'll simulate all the way into the offseason, see who wins the Super Bowl and whatnot, see if Michael Penix maybe wins Rookie of the Year. I kind of doubt it. Bijan also like has potential to win Rookie of the Year, right? Because the draft classes are combined. So we'll see. But the really nice thing about like where we're at right now is we don't really have to re-sign a whole lot of players. And we have like 40 mil-ish in cap, I want to say. So like we will be positioned well heading into negotiations with our players. Obviously taking Kyle Pitts' 5th year, like absolutely. Landman will up the offer on him. Like I think that's like decent. Yeah, we'll bring Landman back. I think that's like a good spot or a good player to have. And then no one else really jumps out to me that I would want to bring back necessarily. Like JD Bertrand, like I'll give you a player-friendly offer. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. So we short up like middle linebacker a little bit, I guess. And now we have 45 mil to kind of go out and get whoever we want to get, right? Also, taking a look at the mock draft before we go ahead and head into this, we are being projected to take Tim Irving. He's a first-round pass rusher. Looks like a pretty solid outside linebacker. Has A power moves. I think would probably fit into a 3-4 scheme pretty well. 6'4", 251. That's probably like where I'm looking anyways. Probably first round outside linebacker. Second round gonna be probably a cornerback depending on what depth looks like. So I mean, we'll see, man. Let's go ahead. Let's see who we can get in free agency. I am curious to see who's going to be here, because if we can maybe sign some guys, like we won't have to then go and draft players right in that spot. Like Josh Allen right there. There we go. That's like that's actually one that I would like to bring in. I'm going to be honest. That's one that I would definitely like to bring in. We will offer on Josh Allen, because then again, it frees up who can we go get at cornerback, right? I'm seeing like Max Melton right here, who's like, obviously, like I liked him a lot coming out of school. Actually played against him in high school. Fun fact, back in New Jersey. Really liked him coming out of Rutgers. His older brother, Bo, I think is on the Packers. Let's see, man. Let's see if we can't get one of these two guys. I mean, Max Melton would not be a free agent. I think he's like an immediate plug and play corner for the Cardinals. But we'll see. I mean, I would really love to get Josh Allen. Obviously, I think that would like really help us out in terms of like freeing up, hey, what can we draft? Let's check out the 4th mock draft. I have to assume we'll be it's Tim Irving all the way. And then in terms of free agents, we did get Max Melton, but unfortunately Josh Allen goes to our division rival, which hurts a little bit. I'm going to be honest. There are still some guys that are like, oh God, there's a big time fall off right here. Holy hell, man. It's like Drew Tranquil, who's like not really a pass rushing outside linebacker as much. Like I mean, he's got like decent power moves or hit power. Actually, no, he's got terrible power moves. Yeah, no one I really see that I want. Left outside linebacker, also no one that I see that I want. Could we get a rush left end or rush right end and plug them in? I think AJ Epinesa is actually one that we will go ahead and offer on. Like, that's not a bad player to go ahead and try to pick up. And so we do bring in AJ Epinesa. I think that's a pretty solid plug and play. Defensive end, at the very least, a rotational guy. And that's really all that we're going to go ahead and bring in. So we will simulate to the draft here. And see what we can do. We might be looking to move Big Kirko, because I don't really think we're going to need to start him, and it would be kind of nice to offload that contract. So here we go. Getting into this draft, we are going to pause. We're going to see if anybody wants Kirk. I mean, that's going to be kind of our quarterback that we would want to offload at this point, right? He's regressing big time. He didn't play last year at all. Baron Browning is very interesting. Dallas Turner is also very interesting. I do not think that would happen in real life, so I'm going to refrain from doing that, even though I would love to do that. I think Baron Browning is like one that I'll go ahead and do. It's, again, I don't know how realistic it is. I mean, if Bo Nix like sucks, it's not like terrible, I don't think. And that, again, kind of helps us solidify our pass rush a bit more. 3-4, true 3-4 outside linebacker right there. And here we are going to sim to pick 20. Let's see what we've got here on the table for us. Connor Bradford, a 6'3 cornerback. That is kind of insane. Obviously, Tim Irving is still right there for us, but I mean, 6'3 cornerback, that's like crazy, man. And he looks like he can broad jump out the gym, but he's not a particularly elite mover. A 4.42 is still pretty fast, but he's got A man, A press, B tackle, B zone. Welcome to the team, Connor Bradford. Yeah, hidden dev, player if I've ever seen one. That is, phenomenal right there. We drafted a rookie. We got an achievement, ladies and gents. Love to see it. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can trade up. I do want to see if we can maybe get, well, there goes Tim Irving. So never mind. We will not be trading up. We are going to just advance to round 2. That one hurts a little bit, I'm going to be honest. I am seeing Matt Edwards here. He's a 23-year-old rookie, right? 6'1", 178, pretty light. But he's got A deep route running, A spectacular catch, C short, C catching, F medium route. definitely an interesting one. We are going to go ahead and draft Matt Edwards. He is hidden dev, 93 speed. Not really a position of need, but maybe a decent slot guy, or at least a deep threat at the very least, I would say. And then we're also going to draft, I mean, I don't really know where to go here, right? Because there's a lot of receivers in front of me that I'm looking at. I mean, a defensive tackle. Ooh, a finesse moves defensive tackle at 305 is kind of crazy. You don't really see that very often, and I kind of want to draft purely off that trait, right? C block shed is whatever, but a finesse moves on a DT is pretty rare. Let's go ahead and draft Lamar Carr. 6'1", 305, normal dev. We are going to sim to the end of the draft here, but I feel like we kind of got everything that we needed, right? I think we drafted pretty decently well. All right, so taking a look at the draft recap, we got a 75 overall cornerback, a 74 overall receiver. Like, it looks like we drafted pretty well, I would say. I mean, for our top 2 picks, definitely no complaints here. Let's take a look at the NFL draft as a whole. Really hoping we did not miss out on that outside linebacker. It wasn't Brian Smith. Who was it? Yeah, so Tim Irving, the guy that we were looking at, 72 overall. So I think we drafted best position available, right? Or at a position of need for us, especially. And then we also get Baron Browning in a trade. I think we came away pretty good. Like, defensively, we are going to be improved. And then offensively, we haven't regressed at all, right? We kept all of our starters on the offensive side of the ball, which is really good to see. And then we also bring in Edwards, who's going to be like starting over Rondale Moore, and then Darnell Mooney will be behind him. I think, like, overall we did pretty decently. Let's go ahead. Let's check out the defensive side of the ball, right? Because big upgrades here at a couple of spots, right? AJ Epinesa, very solid. Onyemata, right? Grady Jarrett's there as well. And then we obviously have like Baron Browning, right? We also have our cornerback that we just drafted. So really shoring up the defense here. And Caden Ellis, what is your injury, dude? Did you like die? He got a back strain. So, I mean, he should be fine, hopefully, heading into the season. But I feel pretty good coming into year 2. I'm going to be honest. I do feel confident in this team. Probably going to shoot to make the playoffs this season. So, like, yeah, on our season goal, we're setting it to make the playoffs again. I think that's like our offense has not changed and our defense only got better. So, I mean, I feel pretty confident heading into the season. We are going to have Edwards start over Mooney in the slot. I just think that's better, to be quite honest. In terms of like pass rushers, I think this is probably how I would have it, right? Ebiketie, Baron Browning, Grady Jarrett, right? Braylon Trice might get some touches here and there. And then like within our 3-4 standard package, I definitely think AJ Epinesa, who got injured, goddamn man. But I guess it's going to be Smith Williams instead of AJ Epinesa. That kind of sucks, but hey, you can't win them all, right? And it looks like our starting left guard also got injured. How is this happening? Like, what is going on? Why are we're getting the injury bug before we even hit the season? But I still feel confident, right? Let's go ahead. Let's sim to the midseason mark and see how the Falcons can do here in year 2. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, at the midseason mark, the Atlanta Falcons are sitting at 5-1. Baron Browning got a new ability. Does that mean he's up to Superstar X Factor? It does not. It just means he's a very good superstar, which is awesome. I mean, yeah, like this team kind of is poised to like blow up, I would say, if Penix can come out and do well. Like that's kind of the name of the game, right? When it comes to a team's like long-term success, right? Is like, can the quarterback play well? And I mean, yeah, Penix, 1,200 yards is not a lot, but like 12 TDs, two picks is like great. Like you can throw for 100 yards if you're throwing 100 touchdowns, you know? Like I don't really care about the yards that much. Brian Bijan Robinson, 4.1 a carry, 488 yards with 4 TDs is great. Receiving wise, Drake London is still our guy. Matt Edwards getting some touches. We'll probably not know his dev trait until the end of the season. And then Kyle Pitts, from a yards standpoint, not getting a whole lot, but getting a decent amount of touchdowns, right? We're spreading the ball around. I love to see it. Defensively, what are we looking at, right? Sacks wise, Onyemata with 4, Baron Browning with 3.5, Grady Jarrett with 2, Arnold Ebiketie with 1.5, Caden Ellis with 1, AJ Terrell, Connor Bradford, and Richie Grant and Lorenzo Carter with all a half sack. And then we've got some guys with some interceptions as well. Again, like not much more I can really ask from this team at this point. Like we're 5-1. Obviously we're doing something right. Connor Bradford, unfortunately, only with star dev, but hey, I mean, it's an upgrade to what we previously had, right? And then looking at like why we're winning games, it's the defense. Defensive points per game, we're number 1. We're number 4 in pass yards per game. We're number 5 in rush yards per game. So really not letting other teams get anything going, which is awesome. AJ Terrell will be an expensive signing. Oh my goodness, man. That's not cheap. Baron Browning will be an expensive signing. He is not cheap. But I mean, hey, like we have to bring some of these guys back. Penix really should not have his rookie contract expiring yet. That's really bizarre. I need to go in and try and fix that. All right, so we went and we changed Penix's contract because I don't know why, but they had him on a 1 year and they should not have. Like that's bizarre. Some of these guys I'm like iffy on whether or not I want to bring back. I want to kind of finish out the season, see what we've got going, and then like see who do we want to bring back. Obviously going to pick up Drake London's 5th year, right? But I mean, I feel pretty strong like about making the playoffs, heading into the playoffs as we're going to simulate there. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's sim to the playoffs, see how we can finish out the season and see, if we can make it. It looks like in terms of the division, right, the Saints are 5-2, but the Bucs and Panthers are struggling. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so we finished the season 10-7, which is like definitely not as strong as we had started it. That's for sure. In terms of weekly awards, Penix, woo, yeah, look at that kid, man. Looks like he's balling right for us, which is awesome to see. Obviously not as cracked out as Caleb Williams was in my rebuild that I did with the Bears, or not rebuild, but career sim for Caleb Williams. But I mean, 10-7 in our second year is like kind of more than I would expect, right? I mean, again, we made the playoffs last year. It was a happy surprise. But now we've got this kind of cracked out defense that's been balling for us, right? Which looks like it fell off a little bit in the latter half of the season, but still like a very, a top 12 team in the NFL. And statistically speaking, right, how are we looking? Penix, 3,500 yards, 26 TDs to 11 picks is, I'll take that for sure. Rushing wise, Bijan Robinson with 1,300 yards, 11 TDs. Algier with 10 TDs later in the season, which is awesome. Bijan, only 1 fumble this year. Again, very solid. Receiving wise, Drake London got rocking and rolling. Darnell Mooney got rocking and rolling. Kyle Pitts also got involved. Rondale Moore. And then Matt Edwards, who has star development. But I mean, hey, we'll take it, man. No complaints here. No complaints. Defensively, right? What did we look like from the defensive side of the ball? Baron Browning led the team with 6. Then we had 5.5, 5, 4, and then it drops down to 1, and then a bunch of half-sack guys. So, I mean, Baron Browning did what we asked him to do when he came in. Interceptions-wise, AJ Terrell, Caden Ellis with 2, Richie Grant with 2, Nate Landman with 1, Mike Hughes with 1, Max Melton with 1. Max Melton definitely helping on the defensive side of the ball as well. Kind of forgot that we had brought him in, right? But yet again, coming up against the Packers, again, very good team in simulation. We will see how we can do. I do want to take a look at the lineup real quick before we go ahead and get into this. See if anyone's gotten bumped from star to superstar or vice versa. And it looks like Bijan's still at superstar. Penix will probably hit superstar like next year or the year after that. And then defensively, right, we've got superstar, star. Max Melton should probably be getting up to star soon. Caden Ellis is pretty solid. Ebikety's good, right? So like, overall, pretty solid team. We do have Caden Stearns now, which is interesting. I don't think he got traded in real life. I'm not sure how we picked him up. Arororo is still on the team, which is awesome. I actually probably want him starting right behind Onyemata, in all honesty. Epinesa did not see any real stats from him this year. He was injured in preseason, so not super surprised about that. But let's go ahead and advance so we can see if we can't potentially beat the Green Bay Packers. So this time it is a bit of a blowout, not nearly as close as last year, 35-14. Unfortunate to say the least. First round exit yet again, but made the playoffs 2 years in a row, which is, pretty solid, I would say. So let's go ahead, let's sim to the offseason. And see if we get any awards. I don't think we're going to have any rookies of the year, but you never know. So taking a look at the season recap, nothing here for us, unfortunately, as it looks like the Ravens did have a rookie of the year. And it looks like the Texans win the Super Bowl, which is kind of crazy. And Derek Stingley Jr. wins the MVP for that game. So that's kind of crazy in all honesty. We do have some player upgrades, obviously. Gonna have to negotiate with some guys, kind of decide who do I want back, who do I not really want back, and then we'll kind of go from there. So obviously picking up Drake London's 5th year. Richie Grant is, he's so cheap, I might as well bring him back. Like, I have no problem with that. Rondell, another guy that, I mean, he is a little bit more expensive, but I have no problem bringing back. I definitely want my center back. That is for sure. Luca Rororo, I would definitely like to bring back, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely overpaying some of these guys for sure. I'll bring back Caden if he wants to. Yeah, all right, that's fine. You're back up. Mike Hughes, yeah, I'll bring him back on a 1 year. That's fine. Not going to leave us with a whole lot of money in terms of like bringing other guys back, right? But I do feel pretty confident about like this squad. Like we've got, again, all of our key pieces are still here. So let's see if there's anyone that's like cheap in free agency that we can get. So in free agency, there are some guys that would like to sign with us. One of them being Dre Greenlaw. He would plug in at middle linebacker for us. And I mean, I would like to have him on the team. We can't really afford to pay him a whole lot. And I mean, that's going to be the main guy that we offer on. We'll see. We did not sign him. That does not surprise me. Yeah, and then as I'm kind of going through, I'm not really seeing like a whole lot of players that I would want to bring in. Like Charvarius would be nice. We definitely cannot afford to pay him. Khalil Mack is old as hell at this point. Yeah, I mean, there's no one that's really jumping out that I'm like, oh, I really want that guy on the team. So we're just going to kind of load up and get ready for the draft. And taking a look at like the draft prospects, we've got Greg Blackshear, who is 6'5", 228. He ran decently well, right? But he's got a short, a spectacular catch, a release, a catch in traffic. I mean, that is a top 5. Like, that is like a Hall of Fame receiver if I've ever seen one. Greg Blackshear, we may be moving up to go get the kid. Because I would like to get another alpha receiver for Penix, realistically. Let's go ahead. Let's sim to the draft and get into this. And it's going to require a big move up, I will tell you that. It's going to require probably multiple firsts, but he looks phenomenal. So before we hop into this draft, Greg Blackshear is actually projected to fall all the way down right outside of our pick, which is kind of insane. He looks just like phenomenal. So I'm probably going to try and trade up to like 16 to ensure that we get him. And then if, you know, worst comes to worst, we'll just like trade back and try to get some draft capital that way. But let's go ahead. Let's hop into this. We'll advance pick. Ethan Williams goes number 1. Cedric Hall or Hale goes number 2, right? And we don't pick for a while here. So there's been a run of quarterbacks here. A DT goes. All right, we're getting in range where like this could potentially be the pick. And we're going to make a trade up right here with the Miami Dolphins. Not going to have to give up a whole lot, but I really don't want to risk it, right? This kid in my mind looks awesome. And so like I want him on my team. So we will see how far out are we from just a pick swap. And it's not that far. It is not that far. We're going to see if we can get it done with a 5. They're only moving back a couple of spots. It might take a 3, honestly, which I'm okay with. We'll see what a 4 does. So a 4 doesn't really move them. So a 1st and a 3rd is like not the end of the world. Okay, we'll throw in a freaking 5 as well. Jesus, they're really trying to fleece me here. So a 1, a 3, and a 5, and now we are on the clock and we're taking Blackshear. I mean, that kid looks elite, right? 6'5", about 230. Like, how do I not draft this kid? He looks absolutely insane. Yeah, easiest draft player I've ever hit, right? Number Ocho, number 88. Love to see it, man. And let's go ahead. Let's sim to round 2. And that's going to be the only other pick that we make because we don't have round 3 and we don't have round 5. So not really like a whole lot there. Obviously not going to be drafting another outside linebacker. I would like to bring in a strong safety as our other guy is getting a little bit older. I think it's Richie Grant. This guy does not have good play rec, but like, I mean, I think we can kind of work with it. Caleb Weaver, going to be normal dev, right? Like, not going to be a strong player, kind of knew that. But it's just a position where I kind of want to get ahead of that, right? Richie Grant is not playing well. He's regressed from star down to normal dev, and he's only like 26, and so it's like, okay, if we can get a replacement in, I'd like to do that sooner rather than later. And we do have trade offers here for Tyler Algier, and I'm not even going to entertain that. It's an interdivision trade. Absolutely not. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. at the draft recap, please, for the love of God, tell me that we hit it out the park. Blackshear's only a 78. That is, I was hoping he would at least be like an 82. NFL overall wise, Hale was an 81. I mean, we got the number 3 player in the draft, right? No complaints here. No complaints here. The question is, like, how not good is that safety? Because I did not see it. And he is not good. Oh, God. We drafted a 66 overall. So not a whole lot that we did in terms of team building right there from that draft. But we do get a really good receiver that I think would definitely benefit our quarterback. All right, so here we go. As we get into this season, again, offensively, nothing has changed really, other than we got Greg Blackshear, who's hopefully going to be a freaking monster. I am going to spoil this, and I need to check what his development trait is. Please, for the love of God, tell me it's not star. It's star. God damn it, man. What the hell? I mean, that's all right. He's 6'5". Like, I'm sure he'll be good. Defensively, right, we are not really that strong, I would say. Like, Baron Browning's up to superstar X Factor. So is AJ Terrell, which is awesome. Jesse Bates has regressed. Unfortunately, Richie Grant, not that great, but I feel like still this defense we should be competitive at the very least, right? Specialist-wise, it's going to be Blackshear. That's my slot receiver. Like, that's how it's going. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get into year 3. Goal is going to be the same. Let's go ahead, make the playoffs, and I will see you guys at the mid-season mark. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, at the mid-season mark, the Atlanta Falcons are sitting at 1-6. We are not good. Penix is having a god-awful year. 7 TDs to 10 picks is insane. Rushing-wise, Bijan is also like, what is happening? Can we not run the ball anymore? Did we forget how to do that? Greg Blackshear is carrying the team, carrying the whole offense on his back. But, like, what is going on? Defensively, are we awful as well? Yeah, we are not good. Oh my God, what is happening? We are not playing well at all. Offensively, we're 19th in yards, and then probably defensively, we're like last. Like, yeah, offensively, we're putting up 15 points per game, and then defensively, we're allowing 27. That'll freaking do it, man. That'll do it. Is there someone that, like, did someone die? Did I miss the injury report? Like, what is going on? So we got Grady. Oh, dude, that'll do it. Are you kidding me? Baron Browning and Grady Jarrett both out with Clark Phillips as well. Like, yeah, we're not going to win games if those dudes are like snapping hips and stuff. Like, it's not going to work. Let's take a look at who's ready to negotiate. This is not going to be easy because a lot of these guys are not going to be interested in coming back. I will tell you that. Pitts is back. That was like one of the big ones that I was concerned about, I would say. There's a lot of guys here that I'm like iffy on. I do not remember getting Drew Lock. That's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of guys here. Like, I would like probably Tyler Algier back, honestly. He's so cheap and running backs are so cheap that, like, it's kind of hard not to. He just punches the ball in a bunch. I don't really want to pay Darnell this much, but okay, love to see it. Arnold Ebiketie is one that I would definitely like to bring back. That's going to be expensive, man. Oh boy. Grady Jarrett, it might be time for him to walk, to be honest. And we'll save re-signing the rest of those guys till the end of the season. Without further ado, let's go ahead and sim to the playoffs. See if we can't have a comeback season when we get our guys back healthy. And see if we can't at least squeak out, I don't know, 7 or 8 wins. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what? Ladies and gentlemen, we finished 4-13 in year 3. Not good at all. Really, like, weird? I don't know. Like, I felt like we were set up for success, and then we were not. And we will be picking pretty high in this draft, to be honest. Like, we'll be at least in the top 7 or 8, I would say. If not, maybe a little bit higher. Taking a look at like our stats, I did peak a little bit before. Like Penix, again, he's putting up more and more yards every year, but like the interceptions is like ridiculous. Like that cannot be happening. It's terrible. Rushing wise, Bijan had his worst year rushing, did not even break 1,000 yards. Was only averaging 3.9 a carry, which sucks. Receiving wise, Drake London did have a pretty solid year, and Blackshear as well. Again, a pretty solid year. Pitts with his 6 TDs, about 700-800 yards, which is awesome. And then Darnell Mooney with 538. Like, I think we did better than our record, right? Ebiketie with 5.5, Baron Browning with 4, Grady Jarrett with 3, Oro with 2, and then like some more sacks down the board, along with a couple of interceptions, right, from a lot of different guys. So like, yeah, man, I mean, just really a little disappointed in the record, but you can't win them all. And without further ado, let's go ahead and sim to the Super Bowl. Or sim to the off season and see who wins the Super Bowl. All right, so the 2025 season recap: the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very surprising right there. Jaden Daniels is the MVP for the Buccaneers. Don't know what happened there. That's kind of crazy. But we have a couple of players we kind of need to figure out if we want to re-sign or not. Just for, clarity, I did change transparency. I did change the playbooks around. So we are going to be rocking with a base 3-4 Carolina defense this coming season. We're still rolling West Coast zone run, but we are going to be running San Fran's playbook. Shanahan style, I think, lends itself to kind of the talent that we have on the roster. And then we'll kind of go from there. Bijan Robinson, 5th-year option. Yes, sir. Get over here. Grady Jarrett, I would like to bring back. He is going to be a bit expensive. There's no one else that I really... Caleb McGarry, actually, we definitely could use. I will throw... Oh, dude, if we get Caleb McGarry, we don't have Grady Jarrett. I need Caleb McGarry back. All right, yeah, we need a right tackle. Like, I just can't not have a right tackle. Grady Jarrett, like, we'll offer him like a $1 million contract, but like, that's it. That's all I'm doing. Actually, I don't even know if we can offer him that. So we would actually be in debt if we went ahead and offered him this contract. We can't go lower than 1.2 mil a year. Is unfortunate. Obviously going to have to let him walk, but it kind of is what it is at this point, right? We are going to be coming in with a top pick in this draft. And I think with the offensive changes and defensive scheme changes that we've made, we should be good. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's just jump straight into the draft. So before we go ahead and get into the draft, we are drafting number 2 overall. Jeff Landry is the projected pick for us. I really do. Okay, this dude actually looks kind of insane. I was going to say, I don't really see that for us. He's 5'10", 220. You can only have so many backs on the field. But he's got like everything. It's kind of hard for me not to take this kid. Do we take him and move him to like receiver? Maybe. That might not be a bad option. But gonna be really interesting once we get into this draft. So let's go ahead. Let's get rocking and rolling. All right, ladies and gents, here we go. Getting into the draft. We know we're picking 2nd overall, right? There goes Ben Hopkins. Let's look at the offers, right? Because we could really use... we could load up big time. I would very much like to do that. I'm really not seeing a lot. I mean, this is our last year, so it's kind of tough, right? For me to want to move back. Now, pick 9 and then pick 41. And like, okay, this Jets offer gets us a lot of value, but we lose out on a potential like amazing running back, right? Like we've got Jeff Landry, who we know is a stud. Right, Cameron Murphy looks like pretty decent, but Jeff Landry, I mean, looks amazing. So it's like, do we take Bijan or Jeff and put them at receiver? It's one of the two. I can't pass this kid up. I just can't. Like I know it's crazy with Bijan, but I cannot pass him up. So we did just draft a running back, even though we have Bijan Robinson. I know it's bizarre, but we're gonna figure out something, guys. Don't you worry. Now we've got Lamar Way, who looks like pretty decent. He's a free safety. But he is 6'2", 216, so he could definitely roll down to that strong safety spot. His coverage stats are pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and draft Lamar. Unfortunately, only a normal dev player. And that's going to be it for us in this draft. I feel like with the scheme changes, we'll be really good anyways. Running back wise, we're going to move someone to receiver, one of either Bijan or... the other kid we just drafted. So taking a look at the draft recap. Oh my God. Dude, I keep getting these generational players. This is going to be like my 2nd generational running back video. What the hell, dude? Oh my God. I mean, that's got to be the highest player by far. It wasn't even close. Jeff Landry, dude, what do I do? So Bijan goes to receiver. That's what happens. Like Bijan goes to receiver. I think. And yeah, like he's going to have superstar X Factor. That's insane. So you guys know what to look out for in the coming days, as that's definitely going to be a video that I make. An 84 overall running back. That's insane. That is actually insane. And I mean, we'll check, but I'm almost 100% sure he's going to have superstar X Factor. Yep. So Jeff Landry, superstar X Factor right there. Rocket number 35. No, the hell you are not. That is an awful number. Oh, rocket number 0. Rocket number 0. I think that's cold as hell. That's cold as hell. I love it. So now we move Bijan to receiver, which I'm sure is going to like hurt his overall a little bit. But I mean, I kind of like have to, right? I can't have Bijan and this other kid and Tyler Algier, and it drops him down to a 75 overall. But like, he's still going to get touches. Like, absolutely, he's going to get touches. There's no shot that he doesn't get touches. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And we'll put Bijan actually at third down back. We're going to get a little crazy this season. This is truly Shanahan-esque, if you will. I'm actually realizing I can't put Bijan at third down back, but he should still get touches because it's the Shanahan style like offense. He will still run the ball like a decent amount. So the squad is looking interesting, to say the least, as we head into our fourth and final season. Like, offensive line, our tackles have really regressed a lot. Receiving wise, like, we've got Blackshear, we've got Bijan, we've got Drake London, we have a superstar X Factor running back, we got a superstar X Factor tight end. Defensively, we are definitely not as good as I was hoping we would be at this point. Like, Max hasn't really developed. Bradford, I thought, was going to be better than he ended up being. But, I mean, we'll see, man. This Carolina defensive playbook is pretty cracked. So I'll see you guys at the midseason mark. All right, so we're 3-3 at the midseason mark, which is interesting. Let's check the lineup. Obviously, we know our running back's going to have superstar X Factor and hasn't played much, which is odd. Bijan has been sorted down, which I don't like. Yeah, let's take a look at what's going on specialist-wise. No, Landry should be starting over both of you. Absolutely. Get out of town. And then Blackshear should be the slot receiver. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's pop over to the stats and kind of see what's going on statistically speaking. So Michael Penix... Michael Penix has 800 yards? How? What? How have we won 3 games? How is that even possible? What? Rushing-wise, like, actually, how have we won any games? Is our defense just playing so well? I mean, we've got multiple guys with, like, 2+ sacks. Interceptions wise, we're getting some takeaway. Okay, like what's offensively, obviously we're the worst in the league, because like how in the hell? And then defensively we're 7th. What is going on, dude? Oh my god, what is happening? I made one change to the playbook and the game's like, yeah, your quarterback not throwing the ball ever. Get out. Like what's happening here? This is so bizarre. This is so bizarre. Like, I can't, I'm flabbergasted right now. Like, how have we won 3 games with 800 yards from our quarterback? Like, we have to look at our schedule. These have to be the lowest scoring games of all time. Okay, we put up 24, we put up 17, and then we put up 3 points in 2 of our losses. So, like, are we coming up against God squads? Like, I'm a little confused. With that being said, we're simming to the playoffs, man. I am curious, to say the least. Ladies and gents, disappointing end to the video. We finished 7-10. Like, let's look at the stats. Okay, Penix had his worst year by that. Is like under 3,000 yards is insane. I mean, did play decently. Jeff Landry obviously had a good season. Receiving wise, Drake London, like, no one's gonna have that many yards. Bijan Robinson didn't get involved at all. Defensively, I feel like we probably had a very good defense, and we had a pretty solid sack season from our defense, and then interceptions-wise. So, like, yeah, 32nd in offensive yards does not surprise me. We probably finished, like, 14th on defense. 8th on defense, actually. Wow, really good. defensively and then offensively. So maybe that was my bad. Maybe I should not have changed the playbook. Yeah, bizarre to say the least. That's really, really surprising. So even though we had a really weird end to this video, I do hope you guys did enjoy it. Obviously, Penix is, I think, like, if he goes out and performs well, like, this team legit has a shot to compete in the coming years. The question is just, how will he do, right? He's a rookie. Will he actually start over Kirk? I doubt it. They're probably going to have him sit here, and then he's going to be like 25 in his rookie season. Little Jordan Love action going on. But yeah, man, really interesting video. I do hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys would like to see next. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.